So she's not maliciously pulling you on the leash to try to hurt you. She's doing it because her brain is saying, I want that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And she doesn't know how to control that.
Okay.
So now what we have to do is, one, make sure we're controlling our emotions. That's number one. And two, getting her to understand, which is more of a human thing than it is a dog thing, right? Because again, in nature, if she was free, she would go chase the squirrel because that's what nature tells her to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of working against nature, right? And putting, pun intended, I guess, putting a leash on something that's normally free to go,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we're trying to civilize the dog, right?
Yep.
So again, once you kind of get that in mind, you it's easier to communicate with the dog. But the most important thing is we're not trying to change her.
Mm-hmm.
We're learning to manage her, and we're teaching her to manage her too. Right?
Okay.
It's a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you hear like a behavioral modification. Me personally, it may be semantics. I don't really look at it as modification. I look at it as management. Because the truth of the matter is, if you look at what modification is in the dictionary, you're changing something. You're literally changing the physical, biological nature of something. We can't change her. She is who she is, right?
Mm-hmm.
We cannot go inside of her and give her some type of injections of different hormones to make her change who she is.
Yeah.
She is who she is, right? She's always going to be a fearful dog, right? She's always going to be a highly anxious dog. What we're learning how to do and getting her to learn how to do is managing. That's it, right? So did that answer your question? No, that was a lot, but did that kind of answer your question? So yeah, and again, I'll show you how to use excitement as leverage
Okay.
so you can get what you want, because that's really all it's about. It's about leverage, right?
Okay.
You want to be excited, cool, but I need you to do it in this particular time, not when you want to do it.
Yep.
So she's still getting what she wants, but we get what we want to.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm gonna go grab her, and then
Okay.
we'll get this party started.
Okay.
Cool. Yep.
Hungry.
Yeah. You didn't eat enough last night.
No.
I tried to feed you.
Huh?
I tried to feed you.
Just didn't want a burrito.
You didn't want any food.
Yeah, I know. But now I'm hungry.
Now, the first thing I want you to notice, right,
Okay, watch.
is the long leash, right? Now I'm doing this on come.
She looks skinny.
Sit.
Huh?
She looks skinny.
Here it goes.
Right. So the first thing I want you to notice is the long leash, right?
Yep.
How you guys doing today? Good.
We're actually going up right here.
Oh, you are okay. My apologies. So yes, the long leash, right? Now there's a purpose for the long leash, right? I call it allowing her to fail in a controlled environment, right? So as opposed to what typically happens, hey, right here, hey, sit,
He's so small.
sit, right there, sit. So if you notice what I'm doing, every time she looks back, hey, right there, sit, sit. So what I'm doing, sit. So what I'm doing right now, right? She keeps looking back at them, right? Now remember, I told you this was going to happen, because what's happening is she knows she's home,
Yeah.
right? All of the emotions that are tied to this place are starting to come out. So now what we have to do is get her to understand that you no longer have to feel like that about this place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good girl. So this is the time, right, where especially in the beginning, when it's at its highest, where we have to spend the most time to calm it all the way down, right? So, but what I was, hey, right here, yes, good girl. Sit. 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 So, what I was doing here, right, because of her anxious,
Mm-hmm.
of her anxiety, everything around her, she automatically looks at it as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell by how she's, are they coming?
Mm-hmm.
Are they coming? Right? So
Mhm.
all I'm communicating to her every time she got hyper focused on them, hey, nope, we're over here. She looks back, hey, nope, we're over here. Right? So I'm using the leash to tap her on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to stay focused over here. I know those people over there,
Mm-hmm.
but we're here. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the more I allow her to hyper focus on something else,
Mm-hmm.
the more exacerbated
Yeah.
the behavior becomes, right?
Mhm.
So when I see that, oh, she's focused on something, hey, right here,
Yeah,
yes,
there's
good girl.
dogs across the street.
Exactly. But see, that's the thing. It's always going to be something,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
This is never going to change.
We just had these neighbors just
Hey,
moved in
yeah.
too, and there's a dog right at the fence
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Um, that's going to be there too, and she's
That's fine.
always been very reactive to anybody working because they were building over there.
Okay.
Really reactive to anything over that fence.
Sit.
Yeah.
Right. But that's okay because guess what? We can't do.
Hmm.
We can't control what other
Yeah.
people do.
Mhm.
All we can do is control us and control her.
Mhm.
Now, here's the thing I want you guys. Sit. Sit. Good girl. Here's the thing I want you guys to understand. You're never going to be perfect. She's never going to be perfect, right? Also, what I want you to understand is don't try to forget what you want it to look like in 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
Think about today.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, her today is every 5 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
right? Like literally, every 5 to 10 seconds is a new day for her.
Mm-hmm.
So, in order for us to make her right here, hey, sit, good. Now, notice every movement she does, I'm controlling it. I'm not allowing her to do anything on
Mm-hmm.
sit, hey, right there, yes. I'm not allowing her to do anything under her own autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I allow her to make a decision, that get up out of the sit, the next move, I see
Mm-hmm.
something I'm focused on, I'm going,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I have to make sure, right? And it takes a lot of work, right? So you have to be prepared to be hyper vigilant, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not allowing that to make you anxious like her,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So you have to be
Excuse me.
okay. What's right here?
She heard Eric talk, and that's what that was.
Yeah.
Right. So
She's like,
you
"Oh my
have to
God, Dad."
be as hyper aware of the environment without the anxiety that she has, right? Hey, sit. And it's unfortunately it's one of those things because hey, because of who she is, that it just comes with the
Mhm.
game. You now the beautiful thing is over time, sit. Over time, there's a dog there, right? So you see,
Mm-hmm.
hey, hey, yes, good girl. Sit, right. Even though the whining, all of that is
Stress.
Yeah.
right. Hey, I know. Now, if you notice what I do, right? Sit, correct it. There's a couple of ways you can do it, right? And it depends on what you're trying to do in the moment. If I'm trying to divert her attention, ah, sit, you notice I'll tap.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's like tapping you on the shoulder. Like let's say you know, looking down there and Eric's calling you, and because you're so focused on here, you don't hear Eric. And then he gets close to you, like, hey, I'm calling you, right?
Mhm.
It's the same thing here, right? When she gets distracted, hey, I'm over here. Hey, I'm over here. Now, once I tell her to do something, right? Like sit, and she goes to get up,
Mm.
then I hold, right? Because what the leash going up means is put your butt on the ground,
Yeah.
right? So, sit, right? Now, the most important thing about what we call tactile communication for me is it stops me from, it allows me to maintain my emotions. And the reason why is because we are more verbal than they are, right?
Mhm.
And what tends to happen in a situation where you've told her to sit and she's not listening, what do we typically do? Sit, 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 right? But
Mhm.
everybody does it, right?
Mhm.
So, sit. So what happens is, good, I'll take this. Her brain is slowing down, right? So
Good.
what that does, that raises our anxiety and frustration. So instead of me saying sit multiple times, hey, I already told you to sit once. I know you know what sit means. So now, since you are choosing to be disobedient, right? This is what we call it in her brain, is not disobedience, right?
Yeah.
But this is what we call it because we're humanizing the emotion, right?
Mhm.
So once we start putting human words on it, we start feeling human emotions that they're not feeling,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is why I okay. Right? So this is why I do my best, especially in moments of heightened anxiety for her. I do my best to say less words, right?
Mhm.
I, yes, good girl. And like I said, the reason why is because it allows me to control my emotions, right?
Mhm.
Now the other thing is, if you look at how dogs communicate with each other, especially in close proximity,
Mm-hmm.
you very hear like a lot of verbalization. You might hear
Mm-hmm.
a little growling, you might hear
Mhm.
like a little bark, right? But in close proximity, it's physical.
Mm-hmm.
They're bumping bodies, they're literally biting each other,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
It's good girl. Good girl. Yes. Yeah. Good girl. Right? So it's tactile communication, right? They're touching each other to tell the dog what, right? They tell each other what to do, right? So we have to down. Nope. Sit. Down. Right? We have to, I think I said it earlier, in order for them to become smarter, we have to become dumber.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Sit. There must be a dog over there.
The person.
Oh,
Yeah.
the person.
Mhm.
Down. Good. Now, if you notice, it hasn't gotten frantic yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
The main
Yeah.
reason why is because I haven't gotten frantic, right?
She's not puffing up,
Well,
which looks like, yeah, she usually would puff up more.
but that's because she felt like she had to,
Mhm.
right? A part of that's because you empowered her to feel like that. Now, I know you didn't do it on purpose, right?
Mhm.
Sit. Right? Now, I know you didn't do it on purpose, but this is where you have to take the breed into consideration.
Mhm.
She is a protection breed,
Mm-hmm.
right? So she picks up on certain triggers, right? And in her brain, if that trigger says there's a problem, I need to fix it. I don't need her to fix any problems for us, right? I'm the fixer, right?
Mhm.
I'm the leader, right?
Mhm.
So because for the last 6 weeks I've been communicating that to her,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need you to do this for me. I
Mhm.
don't like it, right? So what I need you to do is to relax, right?
Mhm.
Now again, because of who she is, ah, uh-uh, sit, good girl, down, right? Because of who she is, I, hey, nope, right here, sit, And forgive me if I bounce all over the place
God,
because sit, sit. There you go. Down. Down. Because if she come here, come here, up, place, sit.
Oh,
Sit.
raindrop.
that's right. Sorry,
Down. Down. Good. Sit.
Excuse me.
Sit. Now this is important because you get to see what follow through looks like, right? This is very important. This is where a lot of people, right, miss the bus. Sit. 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 Right. This is where a lot of sit. This is where a lot of people miss the bus, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to be even more diligent than she is. I have to be because what happens with dogs is they are very, what's the word? I'm going to say time aware and spatially aware, right? Because again, they're predatory creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to have an internal clock that is almost perfect, right? Because they have to be able to time, okay, like the lady just ran by, right? She's already calculating the distance, how fast she's moving, so she can time her strike, right?
Mm.
So because I'm aware of that, hey, sit. Down. So because I'm aware of that, right? I know I have to, okay, I have to do the same thing, right? So I see the person coming to me, sit. And now what I'm calculating in my brain is, okay, how much space do I have to, one, not run away from the situation, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to totally go high. Oh, a person is coming, a dog is person. Let me go run away because I'm trying to avoid the situation, right? Which is what normally happens because obviously we don't want everything that comes with it.
Yep.
But the problem with that is she doesn't learn how to cope in the environment, right? Hey,
Mm-hmm.
sit. Avoidance never equals compliance,
Mm-hmm.
right? She has to learn how to cope. So all I did was nicely move over, let the lady come by, right? But I am controlling her, right? I'm still allowing her the ability to make the decision, right? And what I mean by that is I have to allow her to fail to a certain degree so she can learn what not to do, right?
Mm.
So every moment is a teaching moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in that moment, I know we're trying to talk, right? We're doing a video, we're trying to get in the house, but totally running away from the lady trying to hide wasn't going to get her to understand that in that moment, I don't need you to go and expect her because that's what she wanted to do. She was moving fast. She's a strange person, right? I
Mm-hmm.
know these things because I know her reactive nature.
Yeah.
So now all I did was, okay, shorten the leash, but I'm not doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a difference, right?
Yeah.
I'm still relaxed, right? I still have control of the leash, but I'm relaxed.
Would you recommend us have like a
Yes, I'm
choke,
gonna give it to her.
the
Yep.
choke
The
collar?
one that
Okay.
she has on, I'm gonna give it to her. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Oftentimes we will just like cross the street because we don't. I
Yeah.
mean, she pulls me more than she pulls you,
Yeah.
but then people are also scared of
Yeah.
her. So
Yeah.
it's been an avoidance
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I know. I
Yeah.
know. Everybody does it. That's why I don't want you to feel like you're alone. Everybody does it, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
natural reaction for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so. Because if you don't know what to do, then the best thing for you to do is to avoid it, right?
Hmm.
That keeps you out of trouble.
Hmm.
But now that we're learning what to do, right, we understand that avoidance does not equal compliance. She never learns what to do. Like, we got 3 dogs walking down the street now. She already sees them, right? So
Hmm.
I don't know if he's turning. If he comes this way, that would be good. If not, cool. But if he was coming this way, right, you can already see the anxiety kicking up. So what I'm
Yeah.
going to do, hey, no, I don't want you to do that. Before she escalates,
Hmm.
right? So, and this is where being hyper vigilant of your area comes in,
Yeah,
right?
it's loud.
That bell?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where being hyper vigilant of your area comes in. So I saw him coming from all the way down there, right? So if I'm going the same way, I'm not trying to avoid. What I'm going to do is judge my distance. When I get close enough, I'm going to allow him to pass, right? Because I'm going to assume his dog is not like mine, right?
Yeah.
Because he has 3 dogs on a leash walking him, right?
Yeah.
So that would typically tell me, like, he may have some control over his dogs, or his dogs are not leash reactive,
Right.
right? So when I get close enough, because I'm using him as a training tool, right? I want her to be able to interact with dogs when we're walking. I want her to be able to do it. So in order to do that, she has to do it.
Yeah.
But I have to allow her to fail so I can teach her what to do.
I've,
Right?
I've watched most of the videos you sent.
Okay.
Has she had like interactions with dogs on leash and stuff as part of the training?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. So again, where I live, unfortunately, it's not a lot of dogs. It's not a lot of people that walk dogs.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a hard thing to recreate in real time.
Hmm.
But she's been around dogs the entire time, right?
Okay.
And I think you might have seen in some of the videos, right?
Yeah.
Always dogs around.
Yeah.
So she's not dog aggressive, right? The problem with her is the leash represents, okay, I'm about to go out into a place where I'm scared of.
Yeah.
I don't know how to communicate with other dogs, right? I'm uncomfortable when things are moving faster than I like them to move. So the only thing I know how to do is say, hey, stop. You see what I mean?
Hmm.
That is her way of saying, I'm scared, you stop.
Yeah.
But it looks like aggression, right? But it has to come out like that because it's a bluff. Because she wants you to think that she's dangerous. And she's really not. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So to answer your question, we had maybe like 1 or 2 interactions. But this is why I'm spending most of the time here, because I know there's a lot of dogs here.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping dogs come. We may even go on a walk.
There is a dog park that way, and there's typically dogs that way.
Okay.
Not a
Well,
technical. It's like a half mile though. So
okay. I mean, that's not terribly far.
yeah.
So yeah, and then also remember, nope. Hey, sit. Good girl. Sit. And remember, you guys have 3 follow-up sessions, right? So we can actually,
Okay. Good.
yeah, we can recreate that on purpose. So we can pick a day to go to the dog park,
Okay.
just so we can intentionally be around other dogs, right?
Okay.
Because that is important. That is a major part of the training, right?
Yeah. A lot of like what elicited us reaching out to you is the upstairs neighbors have dogs, and so it's not just on leash but off leash.
Okay.
Their interaction. She's nipped at them,
Okay.
and she did bite our neighbor as well. So
Do you think you guys will be able to enlist them to help us today?
today, probably not today, but in the future,
Okay.
I know that at least the girl is open to it and wants our dogs to interact more.
Nope. Nope.
Being that the male is the one who got bit, I think he's a little resistant to being around her at this point.
Hey.
But yeah,
Hey. Yes. I'm listening.
it's a lot of interaction. Like the aggression has been when the male neighbors have been out in the back shared area,
Yep.
outside, or in the there's like a back stairway,
Okay.
or the dogs have been there, and we've tried to separate them, like always looking out to see if anyone's there, but crossing paths has happened, and she gets very reactive, jumps on them, very puffy. Did bite a couple times. Yeah. So.
And that's why, you know, if you notice, I'm focused. I'm working with her on by default, right? Because
Right.
obviously I'm holding the leash. But if you notice, I'm focusing the energy on you guys, and specifically you, because I know you're the one with the most, you know.
I've been the one that's there when it's happened. So I don't know if she just doesn't do that around him.
Honestly, I think I just don't react as much as you, and I think what Brandon's saying is that Leia feeds off of kind of the energy and emotion that we exude in those moments of distress, and I think just our general temperaments, I don't react.
But how often have you been in the back when the other neighbors are in the back and she's there too?
We're pretty regular, but again, I just react differently, and I think she responds to that. That's it.
I mean, maybe it is, yeah.
And here's what I want you to understand, right? It's okay.
Okay.
Right? It's okay. Don't take it personal. You see what I mean? Because I know it's hard.
I'm trying not to take it personal when he says it.
I know. Trust me.
A lot.
I go through this all the time.
Like, I haven't, like, she will be at them before I even realize what's happening. So I'm like, how could she be feeding off of it if I didn't even know it was going to happen?
Now it's a learned behavior.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
If you notice, I'll be honest with you. And remember, I told you, right? This was probably going to happen. Mm-hmm. It happens every single time. Just like humans, we associate feelings with different people, right? We feel different about different people. The relationship that you guys have created has been this. So she has not reacted this aggressive, right? Mm-hmm. Since I had her. But because you're here, right? Her brain is automatically going back to what her experience is with this student, with you, with the environment, mm-hmm. right? It's natural. And it's hard. I know it's hard for you to deal with because there's feelings involved, because I know you're thinking, I don't want her to bite people, right?
Yeah.
And I understand it. And you have to kind of go through those feelings, right? Because again, avoiding them is not going to make it better.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to process those feelings. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
And I just have zero experience with a dog of this temperament. He's grown up with shepherds. Yeah. We were like a lab family. I have a Yorkie, so I'm like, it's a very different experience for sure.
Generally speaking, but trust me, I've had some labs with the same issue. I've had small dogs with the same issue, right? So it is a certain breeds are more prone to it because of how those dogs have been bred over time. Mm-hmm. But it's a dog thing across the board, right? And it's funny, and I think I may have asked you guys, like, why did you choose this breed, right? I can't remember. Normally I ask people that when I first meet them, because I want to see what their thought process is behind why they chose the particular breeds that they chose. Because when you choose a specific breed, then typically certain characteristics come with that breed.
Yeah.
Right? And if you don't take that into consideration, then you start to get some of the issues that come with that breed, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's like, well, what's wrong with my dog? Well, nothing. That's what the dog was bred to do. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this, believe it or not, this is very typical of shepherds. Very typical. Very hyperactive, very hypervigilant, right? And if it's not channeled in the proper way, then it comes out as aggression, right? That is like almost every shepherd, right? That I come across is like this, right?
Yeah.
I have 2 German shepherds myself. I don't know if you guys saw them in the video. I have a black one.
I actually didn't see that.
And I have a black and tan one, like the Ren 1010, color. Same thing. Exact same thing.
Okay.
They're all very hypervigilant like that. That's how they are bred to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where, like I said, you can't take it personal. This is who she is.
Yeah.
What you have to do is make sure that you get her to understand that I no longer need you to be like this. Right? And she will come down. It will take time. That's why I was saying, don't try to be perfect on the first day. Yeah. Know you're going to mess up. Know she's going to mess up. It's going to happen. She's messing up with me. You see what I'm?
Yeah.
I'm the trainer,
Yeah.
but I don't take it personal. That's
Mhm.
why I said, hey, she's gonna act like this when we come out.
Yeah.
It happens every single time.
Mhm.
Depending on the dog is how long it takes for them to start understanding, like, okay, everything that we worked on there applies here, right?
Yep.
She's making the switch, but because of how hyperactive she is, it takes her longer,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing we can do about that.
Mhm.
The only thing we can do is control our emotions. That's the only thing we can do.
Mhm.
That's it. If you notice, I haven't said like a whole lot of words to her.
Yeah.
I maybe like collectively, I maybe have like actually verbalized to her maybe 50 times. And out of
Yeah.
those 50 times, it's only been about 6 words,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because they don't understand words. We apply behaviors to words. They understand action, right? That's it. So most of my action has been holding her accountable to what I have asked her to do because I know she knows what that means.
Mhm.
I know she knows what sit means. I know she knows what down means, right?
Mhm.
So when I ask you to sit down,
Oh,
she's taking a phone call.
I think so.
So when I ask you to sit, right,
Oh,
I'm gonna hold you
never mind.
accountable to that sit. Because that's what I asked you to do. I didn't ask you to do anything else, right?
Mhm.
So when I say, hey, Leia, come, sit, right, sit, right? Now, once I say that, I'm gonna hold you accountable to this. So that's when you see me, when she gets up, nope, sit, right? This is me holding her accountable. You know what this is equivalent to? You ever seen dogs? You ever seen dogs play?
Mhm.
You ever seen a dog like lay on top of a dog?
Mhm.
No.
So next time you go to the dog park, or even if you like go on the internet or something like that, again, remember, in close proximity, sit. Yes. In close proximity, dogs are physical. That's how they communicate. So if you see another dog trying to dominate another dog, right?
Mhm.
And that's typical, you'll know because it's the dog that's always on top. It's never the dog that's laying down, right? It's always the dog that's putting his neck over the other dog, right?
Mhm.
Him putting his neck over that dog is telling that dog, relax. I'm the boss, right? So this is the equivalent of that, right?
Okay.
This is me saying, hey, relax, put your butt on the ground, right? And as soon as you put your butt on the ground, guess what? That pressure, right? Because that's what we call spatial pressure, right?
Mhm.
So when you see hey, sit. When you see a dog do this over a dog, that's spatial pressure, right?
Mhm.
He's dominating that dog to tell that dog whatever it is that they're telling that dog, do it or I'm gonna F you up.
Mhm.
That's basically what that dog is saying, right?
Mhm.
So when I do this, right, and I've already asked you to sit, this is me saying, hey, sit down, or you're gonna keep feeling this pressure until you put your butt on the ground.
Mhm.
And once you put your butt on the ground, guess what happens? Pressure goes away. So I'm teaching her how to turn the pressure off,
Mhm.
right? That's literally what I'm teaching her.
Mhm.
So that goes back to when I said, hey, this is never a you problem, this is always a her problem. Because she knows what pressure means, right? So the longer she does this, guess what happens? The more uncomfortable it gets until she does that.
Mhm.
And until she does that, or once she does that, then guess what? The pressure goes away. And if I gotta do it 50 times, I'm gonna do it 50 times until she does that.
Mhm.
Because again, the only thing we cannot control is her genetics. We cannot control that, right? So this is where we have to understand that she's going to be who she is.
Mhm.
I know I keep saying that, right?
Mhm.
But I don't want to set the wrong expectation,
Yeah.
right? Because what we've done the last 6 weeks is implement a foundation of understanding, right? We've
Mhm.
implemented communication,
Mhm.
right? So now you guys have the tools to communicate with her better, so you can get the results faster,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what happens, what tends to happen with dog training, right? People come to me and they say, "Hey, I want you to train my dog." And the first thing I say in my head is, "Well, it's not really my job to train your dog, right?" And I
Mm-hmm.
know that sounds weird because I'm a dog trainer, right? But the truth of the matter is, I'm not a dog trainer. I'm a people trainer,
Yeah.
because it's much, much harder, way harder, like exponentially harder for me to train people than it is to train dogs.
I'm
You know
sure.
why? People are way more complicated, far more complicated,
Mm-hmm.
like extremely more complicated
Mm-hmm.
than dogs. Dogs are very simple. They're very black and white.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little gray with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's how I typically communicate, is very black and white, it's easy for me to communicate with the dog
Mm-hmm.
because I understand how they communicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a whole lot of emotions when I'm communicating with the dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in life, I don't have a whole lot of emotions. Not that I'm emotionless. I just I don't emotionalize or
Emote.
irrationally
Yeah.
emotionalize things that don't have like a drastic effect on my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like if it's not life or death, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Either I'm gonna fix it. If I can't fix it, I gotta deal with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's typically how I approach life. That's typically how dogs are, right? Hey,
Mm-hmm.
yes, good girl. So again, the biggest things we have to do as people is take our emotions out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Irrational emotions, right? I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
act like I'm a machine, right? I get frustrated. I lose my patience just like everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the difference is I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
I'm aware when I get to that point where it's like, okay, I need to step away. I need to take a breath,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Take a breath, come back, and try it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you have to lose the battle to win the war. Sometimes you have to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. Because again, we have the ability to think a year in advance, right? Hey, they don't.
Yeah.
So we understand the end goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So as long as I keep that in mind, I know in a year I'm gonna get what I want if I stay consistent. They don't know that,
Yeah.
right? They're only living for right now.
Yeah.
That's all they understand. Their nature is impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
That's their nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's a lot of information, a lot of feelings
Mm-hmm.
going on, right? But are we making sense as far as
Yeah.
like what dog training is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dog training for me, when I get a dog for 2, 4, 6 weeks, okay, what issues am I dealing with, right? How much time do I have, and what is the dog that I'm dealing with, right? Because I can have the same issues for two different dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and one dog will fix the issue in a week.
Mm-hmm.
Another dog, it'll take 2 months. Same
Mm-hmm.
issues, but because the dog is different, right? I have to approach it different,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the one thing we can't do is force the dog to get it in the amount of time that we want the dog to get it in.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So especially when we're dealing with what I call red zone cases like this, to where they're hyper, right? You have some dogs that are active. You have some dogs that are a little bit above active, then you have dogs that are just like hyperactive,
Yeah.
right? She's a hyperactive dog, right?
Yeah.
So, so that's why I said, my job is to lay as solid of a foundation as I possibly can, teach you guys that foundation, how to communicate with her.
Oh.
So, hey, no, no. So, so that's where she gets hard corrections, right? That's not allowed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the other thing. don't feel guilty about having to correct her, right? Get that empathy out of your system, right?
Mhm.
Hey,
I'm just working on the house here. So doing some internet stuff. Is it okay if I go in your backyard?
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
so if you notice just now, right, she got hyper focused.
Yeah.
Correction. Because it's okay to look. Right? I don't mind you. Oh, what's going on over there? Oh, okay. But when she,
Yeah.
that's the jump or the bite waiting to happen,
Yep.
right? And if we stand here, right, like this,
Mhm.
anxious, then
Mhm.
guess what's going to happen? She's going to get more, right? So now, when I get this, it's, hey, good girl. Now, you see, she looked at me, right? That's when she gets praise.
When she
Not when
eye
she's,
contact.
yes, that's what I, because that's typically, I know I have her brain,
Yeah.
right? Because that, for me, that's saying, okay, what you want me to do? You don't want me to do this. What do you want me to do?
Okay.
You see?
Mhm.
So once I get that, right? Once I break that concentration and she gives me her attention, I want to reward her for that.
Mhm.
Not when she's here, right? And I'm saying, it's okay. No, it's not okay,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I'm rewarding her, I'm empowering her in the behavior that I don't like.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So that's the difference, right? So I get her attention. Yes, good girl. That's a good girl. Once she gives me her attention, right? Then I give the praise and affection, right?
Mhm.
Now, perfect moment. I said sometimes I lose the battle to win the war, right?
Mhm.
She was jumping on me just now.
Mhm.
I typically don't like that unless I invite it. But this is where the discernment comes in dog training that you don't see on a lot of videos, right? When you search dog training, because they show you a lot of mechanical stuff.
Mhm.
They don't show you the psychological, right?
Mhm.
So she jumped on me, right? I didn't correct her. Why do you think I didn't correct her in that moment for jumping on me?
Maybe because she wasn't being as reactive or
Yes,
as anxious. I don't know.
I lost the battle to win the war. So that one behavior wasn't important enough in the moment for me to correct her because she gave me the ultimate behavior that I wanted, which was her attention. So if I would have corrected her for being excited to come to me when I asked her to come to me, then it would have caused confusion. Because now it's like, wait a minute, you asked me to come to you.
Yeah.
So why are you mad at me for coming to you?
Mhm.
And if I do that consistently, then guess what's going to happen? She's not going to want to come to me.
That makes sense.
You see what I mean? So in
Mhm.
that moment, I lost the battle to win the war, right?
Mhm.
Because typically the jumping behavior I don't want, but in that moment, I'll accept it because I know my ultimate goal was to get you to not focus on this thing that you normally focus on,
Mhm.
right? Which causes way worse behaviors than jumping on me.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I knew you was waiting to do it. So does that make sense though?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I know it's a lot of information. This is why I like to record, so you can always refer back to it. And this, as soon as this uploads, it'll be on YouTube, so it'll be something you can always refer back to.
Okay.
So now what we can do, right? Because I know we've been out for a minute. I do want to work ourselves inside,
Okay.
so we can kind of implement what we're doing out here inside as well,
Mhm.
and then we'll go from there.
Will that be off leash inside?
No, no, that's another reason why I'm giving you guys a long leash. I
Okay.
actually want you guys to keep this on her in the house.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
definitely tell that to him
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah. I'll wait till you
Yeah,
come
I
back.
was wondering about that because I was like, a lot of, at least the issues with the neighbors and stuff, there hasn't been a leash present in those
Ah,
situations.
so that's very important. I didn't know that part. I thought she was on the leash. So
Yeah.
she was off the leash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So remember, allowing her to fail in a controlled environment. My controlled environment is this leash.
When we bring her out, if we bring her out back,
Yep.
should we keep her on leash in the backyard right now too? I'm
Yeah, yeah.
assuming.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What are we doing?
We're gonna go inside.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna work our way inside, but I was explaining to her because she was asking when we go inside, is it gonna be off leash? And I said no. That's why I'm giving you guys the long leash because I actually want you to keep this on her. Really, I don't really want to give a time frame. I want the leash to be on her until you get comfortable knowing that you can control her off leash. Meaning when you call her, she comes. When you tell her to do something, she does it, right? This leash allows you the access to her to correct her without having to grab her. You see what I mean? Because if you have to grab her, that makes it much harder.
Hmm.
But if she's over there, right, and I can just grab the leash because the leash is here, right, it makes it much easier to get access to her, right?
Yeah.
So definitely keep this leash on her. So yeah, we can start, especially because it's starting to rain now.
Yeah.
We can start making our way inside, and then we can kind of, go from there. Right? No. Now, real quick, very important, right? So remember, you see this, right? She knows the next step is in the house, right? That's another level of excitement for her. So what you're gonna see me do right now is the same thing we did here, right? Calm her. I'm never gonna allow her to go into any space in this state of mind.
Yeah.
Never. Because if she goes in like this, she's gonna end like this,
Hmm.
right? Or it's a much higher probability that she's gonna end like this, right?
Yeah.
Everything she does has to be calm. Everything. Nope. Come. Right here. Hey, place. Right? So that is the theme. Everything she does, she has to be calm. As soon as she gets more excited than me, she starts pulling, guess what we do? We start over, right?
Hmm.
And that is what we call a negative reinforcement. The negative is I'm taking her away from the thing that she wants to get to, right? Because what I'm telling her is the more excited you get, the further away from the thing you want we get. Nope. 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 Hey. 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 Nope. Nope. Hey. Yeah. She's gonna have to work with her.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's
And
fine.
I'm saying that because even now I'm seeing levels of aggression that I haven't seen when she was with me.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is associated with you guys. Yeah. So we're definitely gonna have to schedule those sessions
Yeah.
because I want to put her, in the environment of what it's gonna be like in real time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can make our way inside.
Yeah.
Yep, we're following you guys.
Okay.
Yep. Nope. Nope. Come. All right. So yes. Okay, we made it inside. Okay. So now what we're gonna do, right, is again, you see that level of excitement is going back up again. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna wait a minute for her to calm down. Okay.
Excuse me.
Right. Now the key thing with
Can you
this
hold it?
with this slip leash, right, is the positioning of it, right? So the most optimal place for it to be is right at the base of her head, right?
Okay.
Right. So how this works is when you put it on, right? Obviously the goal is to not choke her, right? But it has to be firm enough to where one, it stays at the base of her head. And how you create that is, if you notice, they have these clasps, right? So once you get it at the hey, sit, right? So once you get it at the base, you just take that clasp and put it down to where you can still put two fingers under it, but it's tight enough to where it doesn't slide up and down like a normal leash, right? And the reason why that's important is because the lower on the neck it gets, the more
it's like
powerful
choke.
she
Yeah.
gets, right?
Okay.
So again, we always talk about leverage. I have the most leverage around the base of her head because that's the weakest part of her neck, right? And what that does is it allows me to communicate much more efficiently and effectively, right? So when I tap on that leash, right, it's a much quicker reaction as opposed to it being all the way down here or like a harness here, where she's stronger and it's harder to pinpoint that communication.
Right.
Hey, sit. Right? So obviously now this level of anxiety is because
The dog.
yes. Do they normally get along?
Yeah.
They do. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. So what we're gonna do, hey, sit. What we're gonna do, go ahead and release him, right? And we're gonna
Both dogs or just one? There's
yeah,
a little one and a medium one. Yeah.
well, I remember one. Okay. So but
One was probably just not out.
yeah, I don't think the other one was out.
Yeah.
I think you had one out. Okay, that's okay, no problem, no problem.
She's
But
best friends with the medium size. The little one, they get along, but
okay.
yeah.
So here's what we're gonna do. Let him out.
Okay.
Right? And what we're gonna do is ask her to control herself. Sit.
They're gonna come flying in.
Yeah, it's all good. Sit. Hey.
Hey.
Java.
Hey.
Java.
Hey.
George, settle down. Java probably smells so weird too. You settle down.
Yeah.
Hey. Sit. Nope.
That was the fluffiest I ever saw, George. Went all the
I
way
didn't
down.
know what was happening.
Yeah, I don't think I saw him the last time. I saw him or her. Is that her?
Yeah.
I saw her, but I didn't see him the last time. Hey.
He's pretty
Java,
receptive
stop it.
to
Okay.
prompting. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
He's scared.
Yeah, George is like, I don't know what the fuck is happening right now.
My sister's back.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple of things I want you guys to notice about what I did, right? The reason why I wanted them to shoot out was because I wanted to correct her and I wanted to correct them, right? I wanted to ask them for space, right? And I wanted you to see how, again, I can, right? I want you to see how I'm touching, right? Literally, hey. Now, look, you see the body language? No. You see that prowling?
Yeah. I don't see that usually for her.
Well, one, because it's been an extended amount of time, right? She's going into that. Hey.
Oh, she's trying to nip her.
I think you're just smelling her because she smells so different.
No, that nip.
That was a nip.
That was a nip. That nip. Hey. Yeah.
Like that.
So what happens with her, because sits down, right?
Get down.
What happens with her is once she gets comfortable with dogs, then she's okay with them. But that initial, especially if they rush in on her, remember, we're dealing with anxiety, right? So, hey, sits down. So This is a perfect example of we know she knows what these commands mean, right?
Yep.
This is why we're able to hold her accountable for when we ask her to do something and she doesn't do it, right? This is why that physical, tactile communication is important. Because think about it. How much yelling do you think is going to be effective when she gets like she was here? Because I'll be honest with you, that would have been a fight because of the chaotic nature of what happened. But I wanted it to happen on purpose so you can see how I'm controlling my space, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, once I told them what I wanted, act, get back over here. You notice she's the main, hey, nope. But if you notice, they're not really coming in my space anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm telling them, stay out of my space right there. Right? I got this under control. I don't know if you saw it. When you go back in the video, you'll see it.
Yeah, I saw it. Sure.
He actually came in and was trying to correct her.
Yeah, he does that with her.
He's a puppy, right?
No, he's
No.
the oldest.
Oh, really?
No, he's
Yeah.
the middle. She's 14.
I
He's
guess.
like, what,
yeah.
3?
Oh,
He's
wow.
he's
I
like
thought he was
3
a
or
puppy.
4. Yeah,
Okay.
he's
Oh, he's still fairly young.
yeah, he's
Okay.
still young.
So, if you notice, right? Now, if she gets close enough, she's going to get the brunt of what she feels for him. If you notice, her main energy is focusing on him, right?
On him?
Yeah. Look at who she's looking at.
Yeah,
She's not really
this is
focused.
her buddy.
She's focusing on him. Now, here's the thing, and this is where once you learn to understand. Come here. Yes, good girl. Sit. Because he's a calmer dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the dog that will correct her.
Yeah.
He definitely does that.
Yeah. The problem is, if you guys don't control the environment, they're going to end up getting into it with each other really bad.
Mm.
Because he accepts it because he's an easygoing dog. But remember, I told you, dogs in nature, chaotic energy, that is weakness.
Yeah.
In nature, right? Her chaotic nature, he doesn't like it. He accepts it because he's an easygoing dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the unfortunate thing is he's a smaller dog.
Yeah.
So he's not going to win that battle.
Yeah.
But his temperament is actually stronger than hers.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
But even if you look at him, look at your smaller girl. She's like, she doesn't really care.
No,
right?
she's
She's like, whatever. Right? If you look at him, he's like, I'm watching you.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he doesn't want to. He's good. Like he doesn't want to act out right now because he knows he'll get.
Well, yeah,
yelled
that's what
at.
I'm saying. He's very. His temperament is very neutral.
Right.
He could go either way. Right. So because we're controlling the environment, he's back there. It's like, oh, you got it. Okay, I'm cool. But I'm still watching.
Yeah.
You can see what I mean?
Yep.
And because she hasn't settled down yet, right? Hey, sit down. Hey, down. Right? Because she hasn't settled down yet, he's not settled down yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's trying to control the chaotic nature.
Yeah.
Right? So these are all things that you have to, learn how to read in a dog. And again, remember, dogs are very black and white. There's very little thinking. They're very reactive. So immediately he came in to control the environment.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where, if you notice, physically, I was controlling her because I know she has the power to hurt them just based off her size.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm physically controlling her so she can't get to them. But if you notice, I'm telling them, hey, I don't need you to do that. Stop. Stop. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now we got to a point where they understand, like, oh, okay, he got it. Right? But see, this is the psychological part that is hard to get on videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Because most trainers, The stuff they post is the stuff that looks good because they're trying to market training, right? They're trying to market obedience, right? And that's cool because that allows us to tell her to sit even in moments like this, right? So you need that portion of it. But it's hard to market this right here, what we just went through, because it doesn't look good. The optics doesn't look good to the public, right? But this is real training. This is what training is like in real life. What we just went through, that is training. And this is where I try to get people to understand. Take your time. It doesn't happen overnight. I've been training dogs pretty much all my life, but professionally for about 6 years. And guess what I'm still doing?
Learning.
You see what I'm saying? And I've had dogs all my life, like literally all my life, right? But I really just started understanding dogs about 6 years ago. All I knew was sit down, come stay, I love you, dog, I feed you, dog, right? But actual dog, it's only been about 5 or 6 years, and I'm still learning, right? So hey, yes, good girl, good girl. So perfect example, right? If you notice, I didn't do any physical, right? And I did that on purpose to see if I can get her verbally.
Attention, yeah.
So I'm gonna do it again. Hey, yes, good girl, right? Because what that hey is like is me tapping on the leash, right?
Okay.
Hey, yes, good girl. That's a good girl. So all I'm doing is asking for your attention. It's no different than, again, somebody's down the street. Hey, I need your attention, right?
Right.
So sometimes I'll test her to see if I could use my verbal, so that way I don't have to exacerbate myself doing this, because that can cause anxiety too. Right? Because you're like, come on. You see what I mean? So again, a lot of this is you being aware of how you're feeling in the moment and using your discernment to be able to decide which tool you want to use in the moment, right? So again, I know it's a lot of information. It's a lot of information. It's a lot to digest, right? Don't try to be perfect.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I can know. You're gonna mess up. It is gonna happen. Come to the realization that you're gonna mess up. But if you notice, if we know how to communicate, you see what we created just in that short period of time. It was chaos. That it is no doubt about it. That would have been a fight, right? That would have been a fight for sure. No doubt about it in my brain. But if you know how to communicate, right? The first thing I knew I had to do was ask them for space, right? Because if I kept allowing them to come in, they were going to antagonize her. She was going to defend herself, and it would have been chaos, right? So the first thing I knew I had to do was say, hey guys, I don't need you to do this. I got it, right? So yeah, any questions? Any questions? I know I've been rambling.
No, you're good. No questions from me.
Anything specific that you have concerns about? Anything?
Not for me.
Hey, sit.
I gotta blow my nose though.
I guess if there's any like particular commands you want us to focus on, obviously from your videos, I've kind of gotten a vibe, but if there's any that you think that we need to focus on.
So you have the place, right? So, we're walking, right? Hey, Leia, place, right? So that means come to my side, right? Of course, you have sit. Hey, sit. Good. You have down. Now, for right now, well, it's 4, right? You have the recall, which is typically her name, right?
Okay.
Or you can say come. Pretty much the same thing, because how I deal with dogs is when I say your name, that means come to me.
Okay.
Right? So you have come, which is the recall, right? For her name. You have sit, down, place, right? So those are the 4 main commands, the most important, right? That I really really want you to focus on, because everything else, any other commands spawn off of those, right?
I kind of noticed that you
Mhm.
only use no with bigger corrections.
Yes. So no, what no means, that means stop doing what you're doing. It doesn't matter what it is, right? When I
Mhm.
say no, that means stop it, right? So, for an example, if she, hey, that I don't want her to pick up, I'll say no, right? But in a moment like this, no doesn't really translate.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Travis.
So
Java.
it depends on the moment where I'll say no. Like example, like this kind of bark, I will tell a dog no,
Okay.
right? Hey, no, right? But again, no is not necessarily about the word; it's about the energy.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's about, hey, stop, right? Because again, I don't want you to get I don't want you to get in the mode of the no, making it like please stop, right? Because what happens? No, no, no. Like if you tell a dog no, excuse my French, but I want to relate what I'm saying. I'm saying, motherfucker, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You see what I mean? And I mean it. Because if you don't stop, then what's going to come after that? You're not going to like it. You see, and we have to, and I know that sounds barbaric, but again, I have to always take it back to how dogs communicate to each other. Remember what we just saw? Him coming in to correct her was saying, motherfucker, stop. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you don't, I'm going to put my mouth on you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's literally what that was, right? Now, again, I hate to say it like that, and I don't, because I want you to feel the energy behind what I'm saying, right? So when I tell a dog no, that means stop
Yeah.
immediately. And if you don't, then either a couple of things are going to happen, right? It's going to be a hard correction, or I'm going to put it to you as plain as possible. She cannot bite and breathe at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So that's where, if you notice, when they came around, what was I doing?
Mhm.
She can't put her mouth on something and she can't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
But as barbaric as that sounds, guess what that's going to do?
Get her to stop.
Say that again.
Get her to stop.
It's going to get her to stop. That's if she's already doing it. But if she's not already doing it, she's trying to do it, that's going to prevent her from putting her mouth on a human.
Mhm.
Again, right? She has to understand that that behavior is egregious and it's unacceptable. So if she takes it to that level, I'm going to take it to that level. I have to. There's no there's no nice way to get her to understand that this is unacceptable,
Mm-hmm.
because her behavior is not nice. You see what I mean?
Mhm.
And the only reason why I'm harping on this, because I know this is the hardest part for people to not feel the empathy in the moment, right? You gotta let that empathy go, because that empathy will actually get you in more trouble.
Yeah.
You see
Yeah.
how, and that's why I'm make person, right?
Mhm.
Right? And I obviously don't want you guys to go through that, because the implications of that are serious,
Yeah.
right? We're talking money. We're talking she could get put down,
Mhm.
right? There's a lot of things that come with that. So, and I'm being, I'm almost being an asshole about it because of how serious it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
She cannot bite if she can't breathe. Point blank period.
Mhm.
Does that make, am I driving it home?
Mhm.
And again, I don't want it to sound like, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
The correction for what she's doing has to be fair to the action. If she's trying to bite somebody, no,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be that.
Yeah.
Because if it's no, please,
Yeah.
she's gonna bite him.
Yeah.
There's no question in my mind. She's gonna do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it has to be no. And hold her until she puts her butt on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right? Now, again, obviously our goal is literally lights out.
Yeah.
But guess what? Guess what I'm willing to do? If you don't calm down, guess what I'm willing to do?
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather you go on like somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'd much rather do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, at least, at least, we don't have to deal with the repercussions of dealing with that human
Mm-hmm.
if she bites somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, again, this is worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Right? But we've experienced, right, because she's bitten people before, what she's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a serious situation because she's already bitten people,
Yeah.
right? So you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think she would have took a treat?
Mm-mm.
Right? That was way more important than trying to offer her a treat. So sometimes there's no positive way to handle negative behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
It just sits. Yes. Down. Hey, down. All the way down. Down. Yes. Good girl. Sit. Down. So yes. So to end it, right here. Sit. To end it, because I know it's been a lot of information. Down, sit down, and not necessarily because, but that's again, that's my call. That's that. Once in a while, they have an alpha wolf, right? The alpha wolf says we're going this way. If you get out of line, right, either you're going to get corrected or you're going to die.
Yeah.
Because if you don't follow the pack and you decide to do your own thing, guess what you're not going to get? You're not going to get fooled,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I look at the walk the same way. When I go out on that walk, it's not from the time she hits the door, right? That, that doesn't mean it's time to go crazy. No, get to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you don't know. I know what's best for you. Ah. So that's why I was saying she has no autonomy to make decisions on her own. Because we can see when she makes decisions on her own, it's chaos.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So everything she does, everything she doesn't do, is because I told her to do it, or I said don't do it,
Okay.
right? Everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So really, that's what I want you guys to focus on is getting in the mindset of you do not have the freedom to make any decisions on your own.
Yeah.
None. Right? Like absolutely none. When it's time to go to the bathroom, it's because I told you to go to the bathroom. Again, especially in the beginning, hyper vigilant like that, just so we can start changing our mindset of how to handle her. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because before then, she's pretty much had a good amount of autonomy to do what she wanted to do, which gets her in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? So hey, yes, sit, good girl. So to answer your question, the free command. Oh, I know once we get to this tree, it's normally free time, because then that anxiety starts to kick in, or anticipation, which leads to anxiety, which leads to frustration. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so key thing about the free command is being unpredictable with it, right? Right. So I may take 10 steps. Okay, free. Call her back in to me. Hey, place. Sit. Sit. Right. Down. I may even sit. Down. Sit. Yes. Down. So I may take her through this routine a couple of times. Heel. Right. Yeah. To where he. Yeah. To where he's more highly in tune. Middle all out that half of that shit was older than me. Same household, three different. You cannot treat her like you
Actions,
different. You cannot treat her like you.
actions, should we be consistent with those corrections across all dogs? And then my other question is like, if we walk them together, should we be giving them the same commands?
Yes, but the timing of it is important. Right? Because again, commands are mechanical. Like sit down, come. That's all mechanical stuff. You see, she knows that stuff. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It's not that she doesn't know it. Her problem is controlling her impulses, especially around things that are what's the word? That down. Down. Thank you. So, thank you. So to answer your question, yes, if a dog is doing something wrong, correct her. Especially if you've already what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
Yeah. So being really
she needs more. Typically you probably walk her. She needs more. Typically you probably walk her 3 times a day, on average.
I've stalking her alter, but put it on him.
Yeah.
So it not has alter, but put it on him.
Yeah.
So it not has not happened that consistently.
So normally, like her bathroom breaks, is it normally just in the backyard?
We've been since the neighbor incident, we've brought her out the front.
Oh, out the front. Okay. So walks are not necessarily for.
It depends.
Yeah.
Like I'll just take it for a walk if I'm just having like a shit day.
Yeah. So it's a stress
a combo. It just depends on. Every walk is different, but sometimes they're for her, sometimes they're for me.
So yeah.
Sometimes they're for these two.
Yeah. Do you normally walk all 3 of them together?
No.
Okay.
These two, yes, but she's a little too slow.
Okay, gotcha. So, all right. So, first thing, every walk is a structured walk. Time, right? If she got to use the bathroom, she's going to use the bathroom. But what we typically do, we associate the distance with functionality. You see what I mean? We associate, okay, if we walk to this particular point, in between this point and that point, she should use the bathroom. So we kind of gauge the we typically gauge the result off of the distance. And the reason why I say that is because most people say, I walk a mile a day. I'm like, okay, I mean, that sounds good. But what was the goal?
Right.
What was the goal in that mile? Was it just to walk a mile?
Right.
Because if that was the goal, then okay, that's good. That's physical activity. Important in a physical walk.
Okay.
Important in a typical walk.
Okay.
You see what I mean? Because I have a goal of working her, engaging her,
Yeah.
right? Because before the walk, there's been no engagement. It's just been, where's the next thing I'm looking for? That her. If I can keep her engaged on me, then it drastically cuts down on where is it? Purpose. What are you trying to achieve in that walk outside of just getting her to use the bathroom? Because trust me, you put that mental pressure on her, she's going to use the bathroom. She's going to use it relatively quick, and you don't have to go far.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would start with that. I would start by literally picking, whatever tree. You can even from corner to the first tree right here. Work that area. Just work that.
Okay.
Right. Once you get comfortable with that, increase it to the next tree. But don't be predictable for her even within that small space. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I might say, hey, heel. Oh no, heel. Oh no, heel. Right. Within this 10-foot space.
Okay.
I want to be unpredictable, so she does not have the autonomy to make any decision. Come on, right? We can do a little introduction. And if they get, I want you to look at the body language, right? You see how he's going over her neck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Boy, I told you earlier.
Was
typically
he correcting her?
He was correcting her.
Did she
because
do?
she's still a little unstable.
Hmm.
Right? Shh. Because of his temperament, right? I'm not even saying he's not a dominant dog. He's just a very even keeled dog.
Mm-hmm.
So with dogs like her, it brings out the dominance in him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I mean, you get it. We talked about it earlier. Remember when a dog starts to put his neck over the other dog, he's telling that dog, "Hey, relax." And if that dog doesn't doesn't relax, then that happens. That bark and that of me saying, "Hey," right? He barked and nipped. I said, "Hey," and tapped the leash.
Mm-hmm.
Exact same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense though?
Yeah.
So this is not me. I'm using dogs. I literally, a lot of the training that I do, I learned it from dogs. By watching other dogs interact with dogs. Like, oh, she just nipped him because she didn't like what he was doing. Nip.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I literally, a lot of training that I do outside of other trainers that I learned from was watching other dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. All right. I think I'm finished talking to you guys. I know it's a lot of information. But, like I said, as soon as this upload, I will watch this as much as you possibly can, just to pick up on the lingo.
Okay.
Right? So, what I'm going to do is, like I said, this is for you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will keep this on her now. The thing that you have to be aware of, right, is when you're going on your walks, you want it to be firmer, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to make sure you have that leverage.
Okay.
But just like any tool, right, if we're not aware, right, this can cause, I guess, a laceration.
Yeah, like a little.
If it's tight for too long,
yeah.
right? It can start digging down in their skin.
Inside the house, where should it be?
So you can have it looser, right? So you see the clasp, you can actually put the clasp all the way up, so that way it's not tight on her all the time, right? Because if you put the clasp down, it stays tight.
Okay.
So once you get in the house, just loosen it up.
Okay.
So that way it has the freedom to move up and down, but keep this on her.
Okay.
Right? Keep this leash on her. I don't even have a time frame for right now.
Okay.
Just keep it on her. So that way, you have the freedom to correct, right? So for an example, we're going to let it go. We're going to let them interact. Right? Right? I'm looking for him. You see his hair starting to go up?
Yeah.
Right? Ha, hey! Shh. Shh. So he's going to need some corrections too. right? Because
George, spell it.
Or maybe we don't.
his name to get his attention,
Right.
right?
But
So
the actual
you say
correction.
you say
Stop
yes. You say the name first and then the
Yes.
correction, not the correction. So you don't want to say stop George. You want to say George, stop.
Okay.
Or George, no.
Right.
George, sit. Right?
Okay.
Leia. Leia. Yes, good girl. Sit. So and look for those signs when those ears start to go back and he starts to you see and that hair on the back starts to go up.
Yeah.
Right? I would hey
Come.
George, stop it. Right?
Come. Good.
Yep. But yeah, most definitely simply because she's the more powerful dog, right? You know, keep the hey, Leia. Ah, no. Right? So perfect example, and this will be the last thing I promise, right? She jumped on you just now. You didn't invite her to.
No.
Right? And you wasn't soliciting a specific behavior like we were outside, where I asked her to come to me and she was excited to come to me. So I ignored her jumping on me. This time, she invaded your space because you didn't even ask her to come to you. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So in that moment, that's when I correct that. Does that make the difference? Yeah.
All right.
So there you go. I'll take that, and you take this, and I'll go to the car and get her her bag, her things. Yeah, because she finished pretty much the rest of that food. It was like a little corner left in that bag. Yeah. Yep. So yeah. Yep. So yeah. There you go. Good girl. Yep. Good.
Okay, sit. Sit.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Sit.
There you go. Perfect.
Good.
Yeah. All right. Let me go grab her things, and I'll be back.
Cool.
There you go, folks. It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work teaching humans how to train dogs. It's a lot of work, but it got to be done. It got to be done, man. Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do it. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Leave the brother alone. I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, it's a lot of work, but it got to be done. It got to be done because it's necessary. So we're gonna go back in and finish with this session. This is longer than it typically is. This is about an hour and 40 minutes so far. But we're finishing up. And we're gonna move on to the next dog. All right. There we go. So how did she do when I left out?
Oh, she was fine.
She was fine?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, she didn't eat this morning, so she is due for, a meal whenever you guys are. Oh, this is her leash too.
Oh.
Yep, she is due for a meal, whenever she's ready.
Okay.
Oh, whenever you guys are ready. And then, we're good to go.
Okay. So
Mhm.
the next few sessions, will we do more of like the practice work and you like watch us, or?
Yeah, so to be both, right? So of course, the goal with those sessions is again just to continue with the implementation of how to communicate with her properly, the technique, right? You learning the technique of doing some of the things that we were doing here, and really, my main focus is to make sure that you are changing your mentality around how you think about her, right? Because as it stands now, there's a lot of anxiety associated with her, right? And if you don't change that, which is hard, so I know it's much. Yep, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
That's okay.
I know it's weird. Yes.
Yeah, but I can't tell the difference between
No,
play and correction.
this is what I was saying. But
Yeah.
we react differently.
Yeah.
Like straight up. That was anxious energy, and I'm just like, that's fine.
Yeah.
That was what I was trying to communicate. Not come at you personally or anything.
Yeah,
Sure.
but yeah, but I mean, again, I know.
I don't know what's fighting and
I
what's playing with
I
them.
understand. I understand. It's hard, especially in the beginning when you're learning. It's hard to distinguish the difference between the two. It is. It is. Trust me. Don't feel. I'm gonna say bad about that. It's hard because everything to you at this moment is bad, right? Any signs of a dog biting or something like because of your experience is a bad thing, right? And I trust me, I understand it. That's why I said give yourself time. Give yourself time, right? The one thing I want you to focus on is as weird as it sounds, forget everything she's done in the past. Forget about it. Forget about the neighbors. Forget about all that stuff, right? Because it's just I'm going to use this example, and it's an extreme example, right? It's an extreme example, but hopefully it kind of brings home what I'm trying to impress upon you. It has nothing to do with him. It's just an example, right? Let's say he cheated on you, right? Right now, this is not real, so I don't want him to get in trouble when I leave,
I know.
right? Let's say he cheated on you, right? And you said, you know what? I'm going to take you back. You cannot take him back if you still bring up the fact that he cheated on you. You know why? Because you've accepted the fact that he did it and you decided to move forward. You see what I mean? So it's unfair for you to keep bringing it up,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. You've accepted the fact that she's bitten someone, right? Now you have to move forward, right? And it's hard because obviously it's in your brain. You saw what she did.
Yeah.
So it's a hard thing to do, right? But if you're going to decide to move forward, you have to move forward.
Yeah.
So, so yeah,
Are we able to like still communicate with you through WhatsApp?
absolutely. As long as you don't delete the app, that group is there.
I can. Yeah. I'll figure out a way to add to it if I have any questions.
Are you in the group?
No.
No, she refused to download the app.
No.
True.
Well, I mean, I told you about it about six
Yeah.
weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, as long as you have the app, that group doesn't go anywhere. Now, unfortunately, if you're not in the group now, if we add you,
Everything saved. So
yeah, okay, so you can,
she'll
yeah,
accept.
cool beans. All right, folks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a
Really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And we'll keep it going.
Yeah.
All right. All right, folks. I'll be looking forward to, um, talking soon
Yeah.
so we can set up those sessions in the future.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank
Talk to you
you.
guys soon. No problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, folks. That's that. Now, got to go take care of my dogs. Until the